Okay.
All right, we're live.
Okay, hi, we're back.
Sorry, we had to start over, and Let's even actually looks better with the new stream too.
I hope people will find us. Oh, bless you.
I don't know. We don't know what happened. So we got thrown off. I guess because you can't even get on anything, can you?
No, I have to restart completely.
Something happened, yo pooter.
I'm just sharing the link on Facebook.
That's what I'm gonna do. So sorry. That's not what I need to do. Why don't you talk for a second while I'm doing this?
Okay, hi, sorry. Say. Welcome again to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We're currently live on YouTube. We're going to share it to Facebook so everyone that's waiting there can see it, because I do have messages like, hey, I can't see your live stream. I'm like, I know, we got disconnected. And I think there's something going on with my computer. Like the internet just punked out on me. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, it just went wonky on us.
Do you share it there? That's the link you want.
I copied it already.
Okay, share to Facebook. Lord have mercy. And we have some good things to talk about today. So it's kind of upsetting. It's upsetting me.
I know. Shenanigans are afoot.
Shenanigans. It's very upsetting. Okay.
All right, so
get it on there.
Let's start over. Now, we don't have, can you go edit that?
Oh, well, I'll go right now.
Because I hit that and then it didn't show the image or nothing.
All right. I'll fix it.
I don't care. Okay, so sorry about that. So what I was fixing to start talking about, and we don't have a lot of the product and pictures to show you because I relied on her program, and now we got nothing.
Sorry.
So first movie I want to talk about is a movie called Haymaker, which she mentioned last week about it looking like a Muay Thai film, so I was going to probably watch it.
Yeah.
And it is bookended officially by Muay Thai, but it is not a Muay Thai film.
Oh.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. It has a great montage sequence.
We need a montage.
It has some Muay Thai fighting at the end. The training is in Thailand and whatnot. The story is basically about this ex-Muay Thai fighter or MMA fighter. And he's kind of gone through some things, kind of trying to find his way in the world. He meets this singer who he kind of helps from a club. And she ends up bringing him on as kind of her, what she refers to as her shadow. But now you digging behind the pillows, bodyguard / escort.
That's what it is. Is it like the body? Oh, it's like everything.
Not like that, but yeah, but it is.
Well,
it is very much
like.
It's very much like the bodyguard,
where
a relationship is kind of slowing to be built. I'm so glad you could join us.
A
relationship is kind of building between the two, but it's really more about two people trying to find their way. Where she's just up and coming. It's a lady named Nomi Ruiz, who is a transsexual.
Okay.
So, and she's transsexual in the movie, but it's really only a one throwaway statement. It's like he sees a photo, I think it's at her mom's house, sees a photo, is like, who is this? And she just says, that's me. It's a little picture of a little boy. Says, that's me. She walks on. It's never spoken about again. And there isn't like this love affair situation where they're like making out and dealing with, is it gay? Is it not? Is it okay to be in this relationship? I'm embarrassed to be with her. None of that's there. It's really just more about her. She's living this party lifestyle and doing drugs. And even then, it's not like she's a crackhead or nothing.
Right.
But he's like, I don't want to be in this stuff. And then he realizes he wants to get, it kind of inspires him to go back to training and fighting. And so it's kind of one of those things. So it's a good movie. I was disappointed because it wasn't the movie I thought I was going to get. The star of the movie, I think his name is Nick Sasso. He wrote, directed, and stars in it.
Oh, wow.
So it is a smaller movie. Apparently, this Nomi Ruiz is actually already an established singer.
I see. Like for reals.
Yeah, I think she was on Mayans MC TV series, and then she's done this. And I don't know if she's done anything else, but apparently she's already kind of got a career.
Okay, yeah.
This is kind of a new thing. But it was an interesting, I know most people first instinct to be like, oh, I'm not going to watch a relationship about a transgender. But it's not about that.
It's sure it's not. It's about the people in the story.
It is, and I found it interesting that they never even address it. It's never a thing of him being embarrassed to be with her, or is this okay? Because that's the thing you would think that would be part of the relationship is we need to discuss this. I'm not gay and you are, or you're not, but you're not, whatever. And it's never discussed if she was transgendered from a standpoint, like still has some of her other body parts, if she's all the way changed. It's not addressed because it doesn't matter. It's more of a case of she's transgendered. It's a matter of fact. We'll move on.
Right.
There's only one element close into the movie that gives you an idea of where their relationship goes, and that's kind of it. The rest of it is they play off more like two friends, but you can tell there's a little more to it. But then it pulls away and then pulls back, that kind of thing. So if you're looking for a movie about Muay Thai fighting, this is not that movie.
Okay. That's what I was thinking it was going to be.
I was too, and I was really excited to watch it because we don't get enough stuff that has Muay Thai in it, in my opinion. Not like traditional focused Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Because even Tony Jaa's stuff, as much as I love him, his stuff is mixed with trick kicking, taekwondo, and a lot of other things, not just Muay Thai. And he also does Muay Thai, Muay Baran, a lot of different things. So, but one thing that I almost got excited for is during one of the montage training.
We need a montage. Sorry, I'm always going to do that.
I know, that's why I always pause after I say it. There's certain things I say, I know you're going to have a reaction. I wait for you to finish.
And you know what? The funny thing is people start doing it too.
I know. But one of the fight sequences, not fight sequences, but the training sequences, at first, I swore the guy was wearing a Master Toddy shirt. So
he might have been.
He wasn't. I finished watching the show and I rewound it and paused it trying to look at the shirt because it was just, and I thought it was a John Poon who I trained with doing it, but it cut away. But then I realized it wasn't. So I was a little disappointed. I was hoping to have an exciting story of saying, "Hey, this is," because it wasn't at the same school, but I was hoping it might have been, somebody that I trained with in Thailand. But alas, it wasn't. But Haymakers, it's a decent movie, especially for a kind of an independent film. It's just not the movie that. The poster's kind of misleading.
Led me to believe it was an actual, about fighting.
Yeah, and it's not. The fighting is secondary to it. It is important to the guy's life, and it is kind of the way he finds himself again. But it's through the inspiration of being with her and realizing her life is kind of going off the rails. Not because she's crazy, but because I don't think she really knows what she wants, and she doesn't have a place to live. She travels constantly performing.
Gotcha. And
so everywhere they go, there's a moment where he's even like, "Is this what you want out of life? Just to travel and not have a home and not have anything?" And she's like, "This is my life, And and so he's like, "Well, they ain't mine." But that inspires him to go get his crap together and start training and fighting again. But that is probably the best part from the martial arts side is during the training sequence. There's a time where he's in the ring sparring with some guys, and all these Thai guys are just beating the crap out of him, and they're laughing at him, and they're knocking him down, and you can tell the guy's got skill. I'm assuming he's probably really a Muay Thai practitioner, but it's not making fun of him like the bully Hollywood thing. They're pushing him to see if he's going to stick with it or quit.
Yeah.
When he finally sticks with it, they give him his Morcon, and then it kind of brings him back in, and then he goes to fight, and the fight they show is actually with a friend of his, so there's that too. So there is some Muay Thai in it, just not the amount. The poster makes you think it's a Muay Thai fight movie with a singer and a love story, and it's not that.
All right.
Anyway, Haymaker's available now on, I think, on demand and digital, that kind of thing.
Okay. Next.
Moving on.
Well, now let's just look at our list. Okay.
Did you adjust that thing in Hollywood Matrimony?
I did.
Okay.
It looks good now.
Thank you.
This is what it looks like.
What else we got, sister?
Well, I feel bad that now I can't share pictures with y'all because that's how I follow along.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter now. So we got to move on from that. Let's fix it next week. This is what happens when you do a live show instead of a pre-recorded show.
Well, the pre-recorded, I don't know, would it be as fun? I guess it'd be the same thing.
Huh? It'd be the same thing, but you wouldn't have interaction.
I know. Which, I don't care. I don't know if it matters. Okay.
Like the other show we're eventually going to do sometime in our lives is all going to be pre-recorded.
You want to talk about this?
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about this.
Okay, so this one is an older movie, and I'll let you tell everybody about it here in a second. But Arrow Video releases older movies with updated Blu-ray releases and new special features and artwork and all that kind of stuff. So this movie is one of those movies. And what is the movie, ma'am?
This movie is Southland Tales. And it stars The Rock, a.k.a. Dwayne Johnson.
He was still The Rock back then.
Okay. It has Sarah Michelle Gellar. And it has this guy.
Sean William Scott.
And Sean William Scott.
It's got Amy Poehler. It's got John Lovitz, Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
Who else?
And by the way, this was like a Timberlake kind of weekend for us.
Yeah, we got dual Timberlakes.
There's a lot happening.
Anyway.
Yeah,
this movie has a lot of I'm not remembering them all, but there's a lot of people in this movie that are well known. Some of them are like way bigger now than they were when this movie came out. This is a Richard Kelly film, who directed Donnie Darko. This movie came out in 2000 what?
Ooh, girl. Hold on.
You don't have my review.
I don't have it pulled up. I'm doing two things.
What else are you trying to do now?
I'm trying to share reviews and things as we go along, like I would normally do, but now it's a little more difficult because I'm having to kick it old school.
Prepared.
Kicking it old school, baby.
But if the service ain't gonna work, we ain't paying for it.
I think it's just me.
Okay, so moving on.
Sorry.
The movie came out early
ago.
2000s. She can't pull up the review, and now I can't pull it up either. So
I think we're having internet. Is the repeater on?
Yeah, it's all on.
It's not working.
Hold on, stupid thing.
Telling you, it's one internet.
All right, it came out in 2006.
I think this is because I asked Alexa if she was part of Skynet, and I think now she's mad.
No, the movie came out in 2006. This was before The Rock was a major star outside of the ring. He had done, I believe, Walking Tall, The Rundown, maybe Doom, The Scorpion King. He had done some of those where he had started headlining films, but he was still just another action guy. It was like still looking at, this is The Rock that's just another wrestler that's trying to act. He was still Hulk Hogan at that point, but making some better movies. But Richard Kelly is the same person who made Donnie Darko. And so when this movie came out, it was actually kind of a big deal, as opposed, because what was he doing next? This big eclectic cast. The movie horribly bombed at that time.
Yikes.
Now, had you seen it before?
I had seen it before.
Okay, I hadn't seen it since 2006 when it came out. I have not seen it since it came out then. So when they sent me the copy of it, I decided to rewatch it. I said, you know what? Why don't you rewatch it so we can talk about it fresh eyes? And we both watched the Cannes cut, which was a longer version. It was almost 3 hours.
Yeah, it was long. It's like, I feel like it took me all day it did, because I had to stop it and start it and keep going back and forth.
You see if you can explain what this movie's about.
The movie actually essentially is about time travel.
I don't know if you're supposed to say that, but as old as
Am I not?
Well, I mean, I guess it's
sorry, spoiler alert.
The movie's also 2006. You want me to read the synopsis?
That's when we got married in 2006.
You want me to read the synopsis?
Sure.
It says Los Angeles 2008, so it was the future at that time. As the city stands on the brink of social, economic, and environmental chaos, where the fates of an eclectic set of characters, including an amnesia-stricken action star. That's who?
The Rock.
An adult film star developing her own reality TV project.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
And a police officer whose identity has been split in two.
That's Sean
William Scott.
Scott.
Intertwined with each other and with the whole of humanity.
Basically, we're in a future where the world has kind of been destroyed due to environmental issues and bombing, nuclear warfare.
We're in our time now.
Basically, we're living our reality.
Movie
and so
somebody
shows up with a special technology to recreate energy, and the mystery ensues. And basically, I'm sorry if that was a spoiler, but that's essentially what it's about. But it's the most convoluted storytelling.
The problem is that's the big twist ending to it. So if you've never seen it, you gave away the ending of the movie.
Sorry.
So
I apologize.
But it's one of those movies
also
that
15 years ago.
It's so convoluted all over the place.
Won't even know.
Yeah, it's not science fiction-y from a standpoint of you're traveling back and forth through time. It's just there's an element of that there that plays into what they're going with the story. Because even knowing that really doesn't tell you what happened with the story.
It doesn't tell you anything that happened because there's still several twists along the way to even get to there. And if you can even figure that out, that's a big deal.
Well, I remember watching this movie when it came out.
Convoluted.
I remember liking a lot of it, not liking some of it, thinking it felt very much like a Quentin Tarantino kind of film at the time. It reminded me similar of a more crazed version of True Romance. Because I love that. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And I remember watching The Rock in this movie, Dwayne Johnson, sorry. He's not The Rock anymore, but he'll always be The Rock to all of us.
He's The Rock.
Watching Dwayne Johnson in this movie and realizing, you know what, this guy is going to be a good actor.
He can be.
Because in this movie, he has to go further than just the tough guy kicking people's asses.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing was in, I think it was Be Cool that he was in. He got to kind of play up some of that stuff. But in this one, he gets to play up some comedy, some tough guy stuff, and some drama a little bit. And I think,
and a lot of it is because he's confused about even what's happening, and he doesn't really understand what's happening some of the times, and people are like, "What is wrong with you?" And that's part of the story. Is what the heck? So,
and I think Sean William Scott, excuse me,
good.
I think he's one of those guys that's horribly underrated.
He's good and
because he can do drama, he can do comedy. We all know he can do comedy because he was Stifler. But he's really good in some of the action stuff. You know, in the horror. You know, he was in the Final Destination, and
yeah,
I think he's horribly underrated. And then this movie is another one of those where he gets a lot to do and he's really good in it. And
yeah. Sorry,
let's move on. Let's move on. We just got to do this now.
All right.
She's trying to figure out her technology. We'll have to figure it out later.
I want to be able to share a link to a review for everybody.
Well, don't worry about it. How about you go to our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
That's where you'll find the review link.
Okay.
See how the problem solved?
Did it share the other one I shared?
No.
No, that's dumb.
Something's wrong with your computer.
Something's wrong with my whole life. Like, this wouldn't even work.
Oh, you haven't been hacked, have you?
I don't know. Maybe. Oh, well.
Anyway, so basically this is just a new Blu-ray release of Southland Tales. It's the kind of movie that you have to experience more so than somebody can explain to you.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of weirdness.
I'm just saying, it's all over the place, and sometimes it's hard to follow.
There's a random Justin Timberlake music video moment, which actually makes sense for the movie, but it still seems weird. There's a science fiction element that comes in. That's the only part of the movie I don't like. Is the ice cream stuff stuck at the end? I get it, but it's the one part that kind of. I know, but that part seemed completely out of place from the rest of the movie. I wish they had just done something different, a different way. Maybe did the same thing, but not with the elevation stuff.
I got it. Yeah, because there's no reason that should happen.
Yeah, that was the only part that really seemed to like. It felt like somebody just gave up and said, "Let's do this. This will be fun.
Let's just do this."
Yeah, it's like, beyond that, it is kind of one of those movies that, while it failed and bombed horribly back then, it has become like a cult hit.
Yeah.
And it has a following. And I remember seeing it back in the day and kind of like, but I actually have a new appreciation for it now. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah,
for its weirdness,
it's
quirkiness,
weird.
and
it's weird.
I think it's one you definitely should check out.
There you go. Check it out, Southland Tales. Now, the version we watched, I think, was very long. Is the original really that long?
The original is not, I don't think, as long, but I don't know how much longer this version is.
And is the new release going to come with both versions?
Yeah.
Okay.
It comes with both versions.
So, it comes with the Cannes special release, which is the really long one. And then it comes with the original version, and it does have some special features and behind-the-scenes footage. So, it's actually a really interesting set. So, if you find it, you should purchase it. It's pretty cool. I liked it. I also only watched it because Sarah Michelle Gellar was in it, and
well, that's why I thought you'd probably want to see. Mine's doing it too now.
Yeah, so
that's why I figured you'd want to watch it too, because of
Sarah Michelle Gellar,
the boofy in it.
Yeah. All right,
let's move on before we totally get kicked up. We've been having an internet issue. I've been having.
I've never had issues.
I've had issues all week because I've been getting bumped in and out of my virtual classes or freezing a lot. So I don't know what to do. Maybe we need to restart our router. Maybe we need to.
Okay. Well, tell me about this one.
Okay, so hold on, let me pull this up before I talk about it so I can have my reference since we don't have your other stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
Quick access. No, it's okay. It's easier for me to do this. So the next one we're going to talk about is the other one I saw alone. And she was going to watch it with me. We were actually going to talk about it last week, but then it just got busy, and I thought it'd be easier for me just to go ahead and watch it. And you didn't care that much, so it was fine.
I mean, I did, but
but this one's another one, not another one, but this one is a reboot, if you will. Reboot. In 2003, writer, what's his name? Alan B. McElroy unleashed his story Wrong Turn. That was the only one that got a theatrical release with Eliza Dushku. What is it?
Eliza Dushku.
It's a cannibal backwoods slasher flick if you've never seen it.
You're so funny.
Thank you. It actually spawned 5 follow-ups. There's 6 in the original series. And I believe it's like 2 of them were sequels.
Yeah.
And then 2 of them were prequels, I believe. And then it had one that was kind of a standalone. So it was kind of.
I think I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, none of them were really connected from a standpoint of, like, to my remembering. Forgive me if some of the later ones actually had some of the same characters, but it was really more about just kind of continuing this crazy, like most horror movies do. So anyway, so now original writer Alan B. McElroy actually wrote this new one as well. They rebooted it, and which is one of those rare things where the original writer rebooted his own material.
Does that happen very often?
Not that I'm aware of, unless it's something like
this dog is snoring so
like
loud.
Desperado and El
Like
Mariachi. Desperado was kind of a reboot version of El Mariachi with a budget.
Yeah.
But even though it's a different movie, you know.
It's crazy.
With Robert Rodriguez. But anyway, so this new one is kind of return to that story arc. It's not connected. It is a reboot, but it's also a reimagining because it is not the same story.
Oh, it isn't?
No. Gone are the backwoods hillbillies.
I was going to say the kids get lost in the woods with the...
Yeah, and this one's gone to the cannibalistic backwood hillbilly types. You are still in the woods. And this one, it's interesting because it's almost... you still have the killers and that kind of thing, but this time you're dealing with a colony. So it's very much, you're going to be surprised when I tell you this, and I've seen other reviewers say this, it's very Midsommar.
Oh, well,
from a standpoint, not as good as that, but from a standpoint of like...
I think I'm the only one that loves Midsommar.
No, a lot of people like that movie.
Okay,
but it's in the state of, they go there and there's this whole like cult type community, right?
In the woods.
And in this film,
of course, in the woods.
That's kind of a spoiler because it's a group called the Foundation, which is in the synopsis. But I think people need to know this because one of my issues with the movie was it didn't feel like a wrong turn other than in name alone. So I think if you know that going in, it allows you to enjoy.
Yeah, I'm thinking the crazy hillbillies.
Yeah, and that's not there. There are people shooting bows at you and booby traps and that kind of stuff. But what dynamic this added was you have the regular people in the normal towns. They know about the Foundation town. They stay away from each other. And so they coexist. But if you get in their area, then you get put on trial and different things. And so there's an interesting thing. And it's even weirder. Matthew Modine is in this movie.
What?
Yeah, Matthew Modine. Do you know who Matthew Modine is?
I'm looking. It's like that one dude.
He's the guy that was in Full Metal Jacket and a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But he's in this movie and he plays like the main girl's dad trying to find her. And so he has a lot to do more than just a cameo that I thought. And he's known to like our tweets when I tweet something about him.
I love that. That makes me feel like we're famous.
So, but it is weird to look at a Wrong Turn poster and it has Matthew Modine on the top of it.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
But anyway, so it's not a bad movie. I did enjoy it. It just, I think because I didn't know it was so different, I was kind of
not what you were expecting.
They also, some people will probably frown on it because, people are like that. They also have a very diverse group of teenagers, even though they're not really teenagers, meaning there's like a gay couple, there's like a male gay couple, there's people of color, there's, so it has a diverse group that's not just like all the white kids and the one black guy is going to die.
Oh,
It's like a more diverse situation, and they don't necessarily die in the order that you normally expect them either. So it's an interesting. It deals with cult stuff, and but it's not cult just like worshiping Satan kind of cult. It's a community that you never saw that show, The Outsiders, did you? Not the movie, the TV show that was. It was basically that show, The Outsiders. Which, if you've ever seen it, it's got the guy that played it. You don't know that either.
I don't know any.
You didn't watch Sons of Anarchy, but the guy in that Law show we watched. I think it was Rebecca Romaine, and they hired that one guy that had he was on the spectrum that did the computer stuff for him.
Yes.
That guy.
Yes. That
guy who was on Sons of Anarchy, he played Opie.
Okay.
He was one of the main guys, and in the TV show The Outsiders, which was a great show, but it only lasted for like 2 seasons. It was the same thing. It was just townspeople, and then there was like these wild type people that lived in the mountains.
Wild mountain.
And they just had their own community. They didn't bother the people until people started blaming them for crap, and then they come down and start killing people and stuff.
Well, that's
what this is kind of like happens. This, but in a crazier version of that.
I see.
That show was more about just their own communities and weird stuff. And the guy ironically, the guy.
Oh my gosh.
What'd you knock over? Oh, ironically, the guy that we watched in the Cleansing Hour that ran the computers.
Yes.
He was from The Outsiders as well.
So that's like where everybody goes.
So anyway, Wrong Turn. If you like the original movie, this new one, I like that. It's fine.
I just need to know it's different.
But it's not the same direction. But I applaud the fact that the original writer came and retold his vision, kind of a
story.
modern audience too.
A new story.
But there is some blood and guts and some cool death and really tribal things. So I mean, decide for yourself. It's one of those. It only did a 2-day theater opening. It did like a Fathom Events thing Saturday night, this past Saturday, and I think it was last Tuesday or something like that. It aired. But you don't have to wait long because next Tuesday, I believe, it's coming on Blu-ray and DVD already.
Oh, that's
so fast. I did a quick release theatrical, and now it's going to come out. So you'll be able to get it here pretty soon and check it out on digital and everything else.
Wrong Turn. And when you look up Wrong Turn, you need to say Wrong Turn 2021.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it gives you the old one.
Or you'll get the poster of Eliza Dumbshoe like this.
Which I like, so you should watch
I
like that.
I love all those Wrong Turn movies, especially Wrong Turn 2 that Joe Lynch directed, because I love Joe Lynch.
How did I miss all these Wrong Turns?
Well, we're going to go back and get them. I just realized
Do we own them all?
No, I realized we don't have any of them for some reason.
I would think I'd have.
I don't know where your Eliza Dumbshoe
There's no way I don't.
I know, but I'm wondering if we had it on VHS.
Is that old?
It's 2003.
Yikes! I wonder if it's down there in my VHS stack.
It might be.
I still have VHS, and I don't even know why, because there's no way to play them.
No, but we need to go get one. I think you go to, because I just bought
a VHS player.
I just bought Exorcist and stuff on VHS for somebody, so I need to get a VHS.
We need a video player.
So I'd probably go to a pawn shop and get one.
I bet they still. I bet there's new ones being made.
I wonder if there's a way to hook the
things.
VHS player to our thing, because you can buy the duals, and then if you can hook the Blu-rays, it plays the same way.
Yeah, why not? We'll try it.
Anyway, so Wrong Turn.
New project.
You can't check it out yet, but if you missed out on the Fathom Events showings, then you can check it out, I believe, this week on Blu-ray and DVD.
Okay, now we're going this way. I am excited about this
movie. And a movie totally opposite that normally you don't watch a lot of.
No, but I am so excited because this is the thing.
And I watched this one back to back. You did.
You watched it and then watched the next day.
That's how much I enjoyed it.
You guys, DC, people always harp on how bad their movies are, but you know what? DC animated features, that is where the gold is.
They're on point almost every. They've only. You know that last Superman one was the only one I wasn't that big a fan. That had the weirder art.
Yeah,
the movie was good,
it was
but
different.
That was the only one they have done that I was not a fan of.
Their animated movies are on point. I think one of my favorites was that Batman, where he kind of retro Jack the Ripper.
Oh, Gotham by Gaslight.
Yeah. That's
based on an actual book.
And then the other one.
Some of them are real books, some aren't.
I felt there was another one where they like time travel to different periods. The Asian one where Joker was.
That was the Ninja Batman.
Oh my gosh.
That was like more anime. Which surprised me because you don't like anime.
I don't like
so I didn't know
that
if you liked that one.
but that was so cool. Anyway, so this new movie is Batman Soul of the Dragon.
Which I have known about its existence from an interview with one of its voice acting stars.
Who's that?
Mark Dacascos.
Oh,
But he didn't tell me it was this movie. He just said he had done a project with DC. I was a little disappointed when I found out it was going to be a voiceover thing and not get to see him in a DC movie.
Not see him fight.
But as soon as I saw his name pop up with this, I'm like, oh my God, this is what he was telling me about.
You guys, this movie is groovy.
So here's the thing.
Groovy.
This movie is, while it says Batman Soul of the Dragon, this is not a Batman movie. This is kind of a group movie.
Yes, it's a team.
And it's taking place in the 70s.
That's why I'm telling you.
And it features a great voice cast, like I said, with Mark Dacascos playing Richard Dragon.
Yes.
You've got Michael Jai White. I'm already in again.
You're in.
Reprising his role once again as the Bronze Tiger. I don't remember the character's name. If you didn't know, he also played Bronze Tiger in Arrow and a couple, I think, in Suicide Squad, one of the other animated things.
Yeah.
And then I think it was, did I tell you it was Kelly Hu?
Kelly Hu.
She is, oh my goodness, I just went blank on the character. Anyway.
I have it here.
Has it got the list? I think it took all their names up. Oh, she's Shiva.
Lady Shiva.
You got James Hong, who's, oh my God, James Hong is always awesome. Playing the O-Sensei. And then the guy I don't know, David Giotoli, is doing Bruce Wayne, which I'm always against all these new people, Bruce Wayne, but he actually did well.
To me, Bruce Wayne is that one guy.
Kevin
Conroy.
Well, there's another guy.
It's okay. This guy sounded like him.
He did. There's another guy that's been playing Batman for a while on a lot of their in continuity stories they do, and I don't remember which guy's name it is, but this one is a full-on 70s kung fu flick.
The dog is licking my legs,
and
I don't know why.
It's a full-on 70s kung fu flick with hints of Enter the Dragon.
But it's got
the Kung Fu TV series.
That music where it's like...
like spy stuff.
And I'm like, oh yeah.
So as soon as I
in.
watched it in here in the theater room first by myself, because I just couldn't wait. I told her, I said, I'm just going to watch it.
That's fine.
And I said, I'm going to throw it on Movies Anywhere. You can watch it later on by yourself.
Yeah.
I watched it, and I'm like, oh, my God, she's going to love this movie. Because it was playing all the 70s music, and I knew she was going to dig
I'm
it.
I'm into it.
So I said, you have to watch it. She goes, to my surprise, she goes, all right, let's put it in.
Yeah, let's watch it right now.
So I watched it. So what did you think overall?
I loved it. It was so good. Okay, besides the music, which that's what immediately got me in. But I like that even with an animated feature, which it's a cartoon, it's not, it's an animated feature. Like the scenery, the clothing, the sets, everything was very 70s and authentic. And you could tell, like I could tell he was wearing the big collars and the bell bottoms. And so to me, to be able to capture that is amazing. I mean, you're an artist, you get it. You're like, oh yeah, you got to make it look like that. But to be able to just see it and you're immediately immersed in that time period is pretty cool. And then in this particular story, we're learning about some of the training that Batman went through back then.
Yeah, one of the billions of different stories they make up to fill into.
Exactly where did he learn all his training? I don't know. This is just one of the many stories.
It depends on the stories because, you go by some of the movie stuff and the other things because we know he trained with the ninjas at some point and we know that he did this and he did that, but
what about the Rachel Gold people?
That's part of the ninja stuff.
I don't know. Well, this one he's with the sensei, and I don't know exactly what style it is. Is it karate?
I don't think it is a style. I think it's meant to be more of a unnamed martial art, all-encompassing martial arts, because it looks like each one had their own journey and their own style, and which that was something I appreciated too, because the fighting is done really, really well. They clearly,
yes.
I need to go sit down and watch the making if it's on there. Because they clearly did the research of different styles of fighting and how they moved. And
I'm wondering, like, do they watch people and like capture it and then animate, or how do they? I would be interested to know that.
I know I watched one movie a few years ago, some sort of a martial arts animated film. I don't remember what it is, but they had filmed a whole bunch of kung fu people and martial artists doing one steps and fighting and drills and forms and they animated the stances and the movements from that. So I'm pretty sure they probably did that, or that by now they probably have folders and files of all this stuff.
This was just so good. And I liked that, like you said, each one of these people were on their journey. But like any class, I mean, they became a family in a weird way, albeit maybe dysfunctional at times.
Very
that's
much
okay.
So.
I think that's true of your typical martial arts family. I mean, we're all in our own little journey. And kind of one of the things that we talked about on class on Saturday with our red belt people is now at this level, how do you make it your own? Yeah. Like we should see your personality come through. And it's interesting in this movie, the sensei understood that each person was fighting their own thing. And so he would ask all of them to do the same thing. But then you see the reactions. Like there's one scene where he's like, I want you to try and break the rock.
Yeah.
Batman or Bruce Wayne is like, I have to break the rock.
Yeah, he won't let it go.
And he's like, I didn't say to break the rock. I said, try to break the rock.
And even when he tells him look, you don't have to keep doing this, he still refuses to not do it.
And then there's one lady, I guess it was
Lady Shiva, who was like the best student. She quit after the first two starts.
She understood that I'm not going to be able to. I have to walk away.
I'm wasting my time doing this.
She's like, so, and that to me was an interesting lesson that you got to know when to walk away. Like you have to know.
She also talks about like his statement in the thing is, even if you break the rock, it's going to be pebbles. Even if you break those pebbles, it's going to be sand.
Yes.
No matter what you do, it's never going to be finished. And sometimes you need help from someone else to help you finish it or help you break it or whatever.
And that's the lesson though for Batman is Batman wants to do everything on his own because he feels that he has to. Yeah. And he's like, I know what happened to your family. Everybody knows, dude. You gotta at some point.
Well,
don't forget it, but you gotta release it.
I like the flip side too. There's a sequence where Bruce has kind of seemingly integrated with this group. They all seem to be friends. He seems to be a little happier. He seems to be, as much as Bruce Wayne can be.
Yes, as happy as he can be, which is not much.
There's a conflict between him and another character over rice.
Yes.
And Bruce is not being typical. Bruce is like, well, here, we can share it.
Yeah.
But the other guy's not having it because the other guy's been there. And so he's like, you upstart. You're not going to tell me what I can have and what I can. Mm-hmm. I outrank you, essentially. And so they fight, and it's one of those things that I think is a very important part in martial arts, but really life, but martial arts especially. is establishing respect. It's not about, these two people fight, and it's about this not giving up. It's not just winning the fight. It's not just laying down, because this guy's just pummeling Bruce, and he keeps standing up.
It's hardly ever about winning.
I know,
honestly.
And the guy finally is like, "Man, you're stupid." He goes, "I can respect that," because there's something. If you keep getting hit in the face and getting kicked and punched and body parts broken, and you keep, what my instructor used to tell our class is, he would beat us and torture us and do all these things that were probably considered abuse now, but
maybe
I wouldn't have had it either way. I don't run my class the same way we did back there for legal reasons. I would, I'm not going to lie, if I didn't have the legality of what I have to do with the rec center, I would run my class exactly the way I came up.
Mm-hmm.
We would have very few students, but that's how it was. But my instructor used to tell us, he goes, every class, I beat y'all down physically, emotionally, mentally, all this stuff. He goes, and you all keep coming back, and you all keep paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
You're either stupid or you want to learn.
Yep.
And I don't think you're stupid.
Correct.
And that's where it separates, because those students that aren't going to make it quit.
Yep.
And the ones that stay, they either want to be there or their parents are making them be there. Like we have students, their parents force them, they will get nowhere. And this isn't just kids. This isn't just physically getting beaten up. It's also, one of the things we always tell people that we have tests for black belt is when we put them up to test, I am purposely trying to rip them apart mentally, physically, emotionally. I want them to be able to hardly stand. I want tears in their eyes. I want them to look broken. And you break them down so that you make them ready so you can build them into something else. Mm-hmm. It's like you took a clay pot, you smashed it, you melted the clay that, you put it back together. Mm-hmm. And now you made a vase out of it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, most people don't understand that's how that works. It sounds brutally violent. It is. Yeah. But it's what it is. I mean,
and some people will never be into that, and that's okay.
Yeah, I've had students.
When people are into it.
I know we're getting off a tangent, but I remember I had this one guy. I think you'll remember. I had a guy who came to class. I talked to him as an adult man. We talked about class. He was very adamant. He's like, I've been to a few classes. I'm looking for a hardcore class. I'm really getting in there. I really want to fight. I really want to. Said, you're in the right place, my friend. After like 2 or 3 classes, he stopped coming. And then I saw him one day running the track. Because where we were teaching before the pandemic, there was a track above the gym, so we'd see people. So I waved him down. He came down to say hi. I said, "Hey, where you been?" He goes, "Oh, this class was too hard for me."
It was. Our class is easy.
And I'm like, well, this was back when we had 30 to 50 people. This was years ago.
Oh, and all the big guys that like to fight.
Yeah, and yeah. I'm like, you said you wanted a hard class. Oh, well, not that hard.
Oh, well.
I said, and I commended, tell him, I was like, this is not a hard class in comparison to what I came up in and what I do to some of these people on the side.
Yeah.
So anyway, shifting back to Batman, this whole movie is a martial arts love story.
It is
like a homage to
beautiful
Kung Fu theater, Bruce Lee, martial arts epics, 70s Kung Fu. There's like aspects of Jim Kelly, who was the guy in Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee. The African American guy, so it felt like Black Belt Jones, Enter the Dragon, some James Bond, all kind of intertwined with Batman. And what I love most is Batman is not in his Batman costume majority of the movie.
Correct.
He is Bruce Wayne fighting along these people.
And it feels like this is the beginning of him dressing as Batman because there's a reference to this guy, and they're like, oh, that's.
Well, no, remember it was an interesting twist that they did because it doesn't make a lot of sense. Until you think from Batman's perspective, is him and Richard Dragon are fighting these guys that attack them. Richard Dragon, for those who don't know, is kind of a spy-ish. Bruce Lee would probably play him in a movie.
Yeah, he looks very Bruce Lee.
You can tell he was designed
to look like him.
While they're fighting, Bruce Wayne disappears, but then shows back up in his full Batman gear. But there was no need for him to change. He was already in the fight.
And he's like, I think that's Bruce.
Yeah, well, and the whole point of it was because he had to become who Batman was because he's protecting his identity. But the realistic is Bruce Wayne has always been the costume. Batman is who Bruce Wayne is.
Correct.
And so this was him. And so then later in the movie, they're fighting something else, and they're like, you need to get the mask. And then another
Yes.
character goes, "Oh my God, you're the Batman."
Yeah, they're like,
They didn't even see the mask. They just knew what they were talking about because he talked about how the
but
mirror
also,
fights.
I mean, you
struck
can tell
fear
how
into
someone
people.
fights. If you pay attention and you know how someone fights, you know who it is.
Yeah, because they were talking about wanting to strike fear, and he's like, "Get the mask. This guy, he's got this mask. It strikes fear." And the other character's like, "Oh my God, you're the
It's
Batman."
you. Yeah,
And they're like,
it
and he
wasn't
just
even
looks
a
at him, and
surprise.
he's like, "Not right now." And they just
Yeah.
keep fighting, you know.
So strange. Yeah.
So it looks out of place because even when they get in their costumes of sorts, he's the only one really in a costume. Everybody else is just kind of
like fight
kung fu
gear.
uniforms.
Yeah,
like
fight gear.
Bronze Tiger's kind of in a costume, but not really.
That's cool.
But I also like they interject a moment when you're reintroduced all the characters because it's told through flashbacks of their kung fu training. When you reintroduce them in present day of the film, there's a moment of you get to see Bronze Tiger. He's teaching his class.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably my favorite.
That was fun.
Of the dialogue. Yes. He's talking to kids. Kid's like, "I'm not good enough," and he's like, "Who told you that?" He goes, "No one." He goes, "Exactly. No one told you that."
Mm-hmm.
And it goes into the same crap I tell my people. The only people in your way is you.
Yep. True.
So.
But then his team or the guys, all the people that he worked out with are like, "What are you saying? Like, who is that?" Because he's like so.
He was the angry one.
Yeah, he was the angry dude.
That was the smart part about it because early in the movie they talk about here's this guy and he's got anger issues, and now you're seeing him full zen.
Yeah, just with the kid, like helping little kids.
Then when you hear what he'd been doing all this time that built to where he was at, it was getting out the anger because there's a situation that makes him even more angry.
Yeah.
It brings him here, and then the one that's the best student is now doing something completely opposite.
Yeah.
Of what you think.
Yeah,
and of course, Batman became Batman. Richard Dragon's like the super spy. And
my favorite, I think, is the sensei.
Sensei?
Oh, he was the cutest little.
He looked like the master on the original Kung Fu series.
And that you'll see it made me weepy.
Do you know who James Hong is?
His whole little line. I believe he's that the older man.
Who
has been in everything and should win a gazillion
He's the
awards.
one that everybody's fighting to get him a Hollywood star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
He's been in everything probably for 40 years or something.
Probably longer than I've been alive.
He's awesome. I can visualize exactly.
He has that very distinct voice.
Yes.
I love him.
But yeah, the Sensei is the sweetest man and
I like he
so
never
yells,
never gets mad.
So wise and patient.
Very matter-of-factly.
Just what a good sensei would be. Yeah, that's him.
That's right.
He's the best. Anyhow, guys, I could talk about forever.
I know.
This movie, I loved it.
Batman Soul of the Dragon is available now on Blu-ray and DVD. Check it out. Was it this past week? Yeah,
yes, it came out this week.
Came out this week. So check it out. It also includes bonus features, and it has a sneak peek at the next animated film. So DC always has sneak peeks at the next film that's coming up with it, and usually it has a short cartoon. I don't remember if this had a short one on there or not. But anyway, moving on.
I'm posting comments to all our reviews on the Facebook side. I can't even get to the YouTube side. I don't know what's happening in my life.
Anyway, what's next?
Anyways, next is this Apple original film. Hopefully you have Apple TV. If not, you should get it because there are some really good things there. And the movie is called Palmer.
Not Plammer, like I wrote in my review, so I had to go fix it.
They sent him a message. You wrote Plammer?
Yeah, one of my friends sent me a message, and she was so sweet about it because she was like, I don't want to be that person.
No, but thank you.
She goes, but in your first paragraph, you wrote Plammer in the review, and she goes, and I told her, thank you. I said, I wrote the review at like 1 a.m. I said, thank you. That's what I get for doing it. And then I was like, wait a minute, don't you dare correct me. And her response was so sweet. She's like, well, no, seriously, I would never do this, but this is a professional site. And I'm like, she thinks this site's professional.
Thanks a lot.
It's fixed, by the way.
Okay.
So
anyways, the movie Palmer stars Justin Timberlake. That's what I'm saying. It was like a Timberlake week.
That
started with him early
Southland Tales was probably one of his earliest films. Mm-hmm. And then this one is his first film in a couple of years, I think.
Yeah, what's he been doing?
Singing. Jessica Biel.
Oh, Lord. Having babies, singing, dancing.
I guess so.
Just being in Trolls.
Yeah, doing Trolls.
Oh, my gosh.
So tell us what this movie's about.
So this movie is about Palmer. That's Justin. And he is a young man.
His name is Justin Palmer?
No, his name is Eddie Palmer.
Oh, okay.
But he has just gotten out of prison. And he is adjusting back to civilian life. He moves in back with his grandmother, who's the only family he has left. And there is a family that lives in a trailer on their property.
And his grandmother's played by the always awesome June Squibb.
She's so good. And we find out that the lady in the trailer, it's her lady and her son, and she has this crazy boyfriend. And the grandma says, I only let them live here because I feel bad for that little boy. Someone needs to watch out.
I always forget his name, but did you notice who the boyfriend was?
Mm-mm.
Did you?
Oh yeah,
him?
I recognize him.
Do you know what you recognize him from?
Yeah, from that other thing.
What other thing?
Hold on, I have to visualize it again because I can't see anything.
You would know him mostly from the commercial.
Yes, from the Allstate. The Chaos guy.
Yeah, I know him. I knew him all the way back to Oz because that's what I was a fan of. I didn't watch
that.
Anyway,
yeah, but the Allstate commercial guy.
Dean.
Man,
something.
So anyways,
Dean Winters.
So what we find out is that the mother, unfortunately, is on drugs, and she runs off and leaves the little boy unattended often enough that that's why the grandmother wants them living on the property so she can take care of the little boy, whose name is Sam.
And the little boy is awesome.
He is the
Ryder
sweetest
Allen,
little
I believe,
thing.
is the little boy's name.
Oh my gosh, he is the sweetest little thing in the whole world.
His name is Ryder Allen.
I don't know, and I don't really care what his actual orientation is, but in the movie, the little boy Sam is very feminine in a way.
Yeah, he's not. They don't talk about like he's gay or anything like that. He's just he's a little boy that likes playing with dolls. He likes princesses.
He likes dress up. He likes to play with makeup, and his favorite thing is that fairy princess show.
Yeah,
it's his favorite thing in the whole world.
I thought this was okay. So first of all, this is not the movie I thought we were going to watch.
Me, not at all. Either.
I thought it was. I didn't ever watch the trailer for it. I thought it was going to be about this down and out guy. I thought he had substance abuse issues. I didn't know he got out of jail. This was my speculation. But I thought it was a guy who's going to be coming home, and I thought he got a job as a coach for some reason, and that he was kind of finding his way in life, which is in the story. He doesn't become a coach. He becomes a janitor at a school.
He's a janitor at a school. That's the only job he could get, and he had to pull some favors to get that. And that's one of the things I want to bring up. I understand that sometimes employers feel like they're taking a really big chance with people who've just gotten out of jail. But man, we need to make it a little bit easier for them to just have a job.
Well, and I think the issue comes into the fact of it's the bad apples and messed it up for other people, because you have those ones that you want to give a chance to. Then you have other ones that are really just, they don't care. They don't want to work or whatever. Yeah. But I think it outweighs. I think there's more people that really want to rebuild their life than don't.
I agree.
But I also think there's a lot of prisoners and people that come in and out of jail that do that because they don't get those opportunities to rebuild their life. Yeah. Their only options to go back to what they knew.
Yeah, and I mean, if you know the statistics, is most of them do end up going back.
There's some of them that, I don't remember what it was we watched that one time. Remember there was the person committed a crime because they wanted to go back to jail because they felt more comfortable there than they did in the real world.
Yeah, which is sad. I mean, that's
because at least there they knew their structure.
It was that jail.
Was
behind bars.
No, it was a movie.
Was it?
Yeah, with an actor, and I don't remember what it was.
I don't know. Anyways.
So it was interesting because on top of this guy and him trying to find his own way and reacclimate, and he's been in jail for so long, he doesn't know a lot of stuff on how to do a lot of things himself because he went in as like a teenager and now he's an adult.
Correct.
What he was in, like 12 years, 15 years, something like that?
12 years. He had just gotten to college.
He was like a star athlete.
Got in a fight and went crazy and stuff happened, and then he ended up.
But then out of nowhere, you have this interaction with this kid that he's horribly irritated by. Mm-hmm. You can see that he's irritated by everything about this kid. And it turns into a movie about two people trying to find acceptance, two people trying to find their way in life.
Yeah.
Two people that need somebody else.
Yes, because they're alone.
And elements of
watch out, baby.
Watch your silly tail. Your happiness is going to mess up the camera today. No. Don't come under there. And also about dealing with bullying.
Yes.
But not in a way of the bullying itself, about accepting who you are and why that's important.
And it was interesting because, we're dealing, like I said, the little boy is into fairy princesses. So, of course, the other boys are like, hey, you're a girl or whatever. But I felt like even Justin Timberlake's thing was dealing with a certain amount of the same, not bullying necessarily, he was being outcast because of what he did. And the interesting thing is throughout
working together.
The development of the story is you find out that he wasn't alone in committing whatever crime it was. He was the one that took the fall, kind of. And so he's like, why are these people treating me different when you're supposed to be my people?
Yeah.
And then the thing that I guess I don't understand with children is why do they
Nobody
feel the
understands
need?
children.
I know. Why do you feel the need to pick on someone when the kid himself doesn't even know? He just likes fairy princesses.
Well, the problem,
What's wrong with
problem
that?
with a lot of times is a lot of people that pick on other people have their own issues happening.
I guess.
And a lot of times
But that
it's
is
all learned
obviously
behavior too.
I was going to say that is learned behavior because
which is established in this movie.
Yeah.
And I thought it was an interesting direction.
Mhm.
That was an unexpected sequence.
There's
something that happens.
There's an incident
that you expect, but it happens from somebody you don't expect.
Correct.
And that they still felt it was okay, and it's not even connected to the other thing. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And how all of it kind of comes full circle, but there's a lot of. It's a heavy movie because it's a real movie.
It is.
But you know what? Do you know my favorite? I think my favorite and the most important scene of the whole movie is, and I can't tell you exactly, but let's see if you can figure it out.
I'm thinking when he's telling me he has to learn how to fight back.
No, but I did say that earlier in the movie. I was like, he's gonna have to punch that kid in the face.
And I feel bad, but I think so. At a certain point, you do have to learn how to stand up for yourself. And I think if someone hits you, you gotta hit them back. That's just me. And I'm not gonna say start a fight. Like, don't start a fight. But I mean, you got to defend yourself.
There's actually two. There's one piece of dialogue. One's a really major scene.
Is it something with him and his grandma?
Nope.
Oh.
You'll probably be surprised at the scene that I thought was one of the most important scenes of the whole movie and one of my favorites. It was that final Mel scene.
Oh.
Because that scene encompasses so many things.
It is a big deal.
About accepting who you are and how something so small can be so important to someone else and mean everything.
It did.
And I thought, and we've all in our life had that moment, whether we were a kid or an adult.
I totally cried.
Yeah, whether you're a kid or an adult, you have that moment that to anyone else means nothing, but to you it means everything.
Yeah.
That sequence, and then there's a great sequence of a dialogue exchange. He's watching the Princess show, and Timberlake probably gives one of his best performances, I think, in this movie. But he comes out and the kid's watching that Princess show, and he's like, "Why are you watching the show all the time?" He's like, "Because I like it." And he's like, "You can't, this is a girl show," and there's that normal discussion you expect. But he says something to the effect of, do you see any boys in this show?" And he's like, "No." And he goes, "What does that tell you?" He goes, "Then I'll be the first."
Yeah. So that's the thing that kids don't know.
Yeah, and it's never
He's so sweet.
It's never that shift of I can't be this or I can't be a part of this.
He's just like, well, then
then I gotta set it up. And that's the mentality of people that go do something with their life or do something in the world. It's the people that listen to those that say they can't do something or the people that never succeed in anything.
Yeah.
And it's not always their fault. They're beaten down sometimes and they give up.
Yeah.
Like my dad used to my dad wasn't like I wasn't an abusive home, so I'm not trying to bash my dad, but his was always against me being an artist, against me reading comic books, not because he thought they were bad. My dad used to read comic books.
Yeah,
he thought I was wasting time, spending too much time on it. You can't do this for a job. This is not going to be a job. My dad came up in time period. You got a job in a factory. You got a job at this. And a trade job, and it was a career. It was always when you go to college, you got to do this. Why don't you go to trade school? I got that a lot. Now my dad's like, "What is it you do?" And he tells people, "Oh, my son does this and does this." And he doesn't say, "Son, I'm proud of you." No. He's not from that time period, but he says it in different ways through stuff that I get. Yeah. Where he says, "Oh, did y'all see my son do this? Or did you see my son?" I used to get that from martial arts too. My dad used to. Oh, that's okay. I don't care. That's what happens when I give people some power.
We got to correct your spelling.
I write fast and I move on. And then, anyway, but I don't remember what I was saying.
At least it's coherent.
Yeah.
Not like some people.
And I try to use punctuation. So anyway.
Anyways, your dad.
Yeah, I know, but I forgot where I was going with it now.
He doesn't say he's proud of you, but he says
he is. But he used to do this when I was a kid, when I was coming up in martial arts.
I'm just gonna keep eating my
His thing was never really saying, "Oh, look how good my son is. Look at his kicks. Look at his punch. Good job on this. Good job on that." His thing was go over there and kick that guy in the head. His friends at work. They was like we'd come to his work and be like, kick this guy in the shin when I was a kid. And then when I started doing martial arts and got bigger, it was like kick him in his face. And they're like, "You can't kick me in my face." And then my foot would come up and hit somebody up at the side of the head. And he's like, "Okay, maybe you can." And I could see my dad like stand up like, "That's right. That's my kid." And now it's when it transitioned from being Lance's son to now he's Bobby's dad, the whole mentality changed. Yeah. And of course, now he's also a great grandfather, so he's softened a little bit.
Yeah, he's all gaga over that baby.
He is. Oh, my God.
Lord have mercy.
Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, so you need to watch Palmer. It is available now on Apple TV. It is great.
And it is directed by Fisher Stevens. Not. Who did you say it was?
Stevenson.
From the Hardy Boys.
The Hardy Boys.
Not him. Fisher Stevens, if you don't know, the only thing I can remember him off the top of my head is he was in, I believe, My Science Project, and he was also in Short Circuit. He was the Indian guy, but I believe he is, in fact, not Indian. So it's not an
Native
okay
American?
part. Now, no, like
Indian?
Yeah, India,
Okay.
Indian.
Gotcha.
And I was totally shocked. It's kind of like when you see somebody that you suddenly find out they're English. When I found out he was not Indian, I lost my mind.
That gets me every time.
But anyway, it was directed by Fisher Stevens. It's such a good movie. It was way heavier than we thought. It's a great movie. It's got a great message across the board. And I'm telling you, if we didn't already know Justin Timberlake could act from other stuff, this would be the one that says, "Holy crap, that guy's got talent."
He might do something with his
That's
life.
right. This Justin Timberlake fella might have a career.
He might have something.
He might marry a really pretty actress, have a music career, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so I posted a link to the review on the Facebook side. There you go.
Thank you.
Check it out.
All right.
All right, we got one more to talk about. This is probably
just one more.
Yeah, this is probably the big one.
It was number one this weekend at theaters.
Came out in theaters and on
HBO Max. This is the second release of HBO released, or Warner Brothers, excuse me, released that they were doing their entire slate of films this year. We're going to be released in theaters as well as on HBO Max for 30 days. It was met with a lot of controversy. So
was it?
Yes, it may be not this movie, but
the
release
release.
So there may be some movies that are not going to get that, like Dune and Godzilla vs. Kong may not get that after all.
Oh,
they may just get theatrical only.
But I want to see. Okay, because we have to see,
HBO
we
Max
have to see that in the big.
Baby,
oh my gosh!
Crawl up on Vader. Stop.
Oh my gosh! Sabine, come over here.
So, but this movie, Wonder Woman was the first one they did it with.
Come over here.
This next movie called The Little Things, starring Denzel Washington, Rami Malek, and Jared Leto.
Okay, come on.
This was the second one that's got to do this. It was number one this weekend at the box office, which isn't really saying a lot the way the box office is. What is happening?
She's licking my ear.
Okay, well, stop squishing my dog with your
let him.
gigantic body.
Wow, my fat body.
So, a little backstory on this film first.
Oh, okay.
John Lee Hancock, who wrote and directed this film, wrote this movie in what was it? 1990 something?
All over me.
Hold on, let me go back.
Let me drink my grape soda for my friend.
Sabine, Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints. What is your deal, man?
She has to be on the couch, okay?
Okay, hold. That's fine. Okay.
Oh my
Okay,
Lord.
let's move over. Jeez, oh Pete. Sorry, ladies and germs. Okay, so
so many technical
the
difficulties.
script for this movie was done back in 1993.
Oh my gosh.
And this was before John Lee Hancock, I believe, was even a director. This was before Seven. And to me, that has a very Seven vibe.
Bit.
Not as graphic, not as
gory.
Not as big a twist, but the kind of same idea. And it had everybody from Steven Spielberg to Clint Eastwood, I think Danny DeVito, all attached to direct it at one point or another. And then, of course, it never went anywhere. So jump ahead to 2021, or it was shot before this, but John Lee Hancock directed it himself.
Nice.
And there went my glasses. Okay. So anyway, so that's the movie we have. It's a murder mystery, whodunit, thriller, twist, that kind of thing. So would you stop talking to people online?
I'm sharing the word of the show.
So tell us what the movie itself is about.
So the movie's a little bit of like a murder mystery. We start. I know. I'm reiterating. We start in, and we're following a potential serial killer. There've been a string of murders in the area, and Rami Malek is the detective assigned to the case. I think there've been 4 murders so far. Oh my gosh, these dogs! And then Denzel Washington is just some little town sheriff. He has to go to the big city to pick up some evidence. And while we're there, we find out he actually used to be a detective there as well. So, intrigue is afoot.
Yeah, and basically the current case is similar to another case he knows.
He had worked.
So he gets to get involved.
So he starts working with Rami Malek. And by the way, he's so good in this movie. Rami Malek.
We'll have a discussion about that.
I thought he was good.
He's very good, but he was probably one of my bigger issues.
Oh, okay.
But we'll discuss.
Denzel's always good.
Denzel's always good.
And then that Jared Leto guy.
Jared Leto is the main suspect.
He's creepy as all get out.
And Jared Leto, to me, stole this movie.
He's good.
He stole it. So here's my thing. is I actually really enjoyed the movie.
Uh-huh.
It is a dated movie. You could tell that they didn't really. The movie even takes place in 1990, so you can tell he didn't really update the story. I don't. I'd be curious to know if this is the exact same draft.
But I liked it in a way because it's forcing us to go back to a time period where there's not internet readily available and cell phones and all this. It's like making them do real detective work.
Yeah, and I get that. And I think the problem, again, it's not a problem, but I think the shortcomings to where this film might not connect and sounds like it's not connecting as well with some reviewers and some people is that exact thing. Is the dated mentality makes people think that almost like there's too much work to be had. You know what I mean? To be able to do it.
I like it.
And that's not what people are saying, but that's kind of my vibe. Is like you have to really pay attention. You have to. Yeah. There's not a lot of excitement in this movie. There's not a big twist to the movie. There is a twist, but it's not like. That's where the big difference between this and 7 is, where 7 had a lot of really graphic imagery and almost borderline horrific imagery. This one only has a few moments like that. 7 had a really big twist that nobody expected to happen. This one doesn't have as big a twist, but it does have a twist. There are some very elements that I've seen a lot of people compare that this is the exact same thing as 7. This was written before 7. So technically, apples and oranges, kind of mentality. I think Denzel's good. I think he was toned down. He didn't have the meat that he normally has in some of his roles.
This is no Training Day.
No. But or Fences. But even then, Correct. It's like, I think he's kind of your everyman. So
I felt like the part of it was because he's broken in a way.
Yeah, I get it.
So maybe that's why it's all toned down. And I feel like we learned throughout the development of the story why he left LA and went to the small town. So I think he's trying to keep that disconnect. So could that be why?
It could be. It could be that we're just so used to Denzel being larger than life in one of these roles.
I mean, it's Denzel.
Because this reminded me, even though it's not the same thing, this reminded me of Copland. Where have you seen Copland?
I don't think
that's the fat Sylvester Stallone movie.
Yeah.
Where he goes from being the big action hero to suddenly fat Sylvester Stallone who's deaf.
Correct.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And it's a great movie, and Stallone is amazing in it, but it's not Stallone we're used to.
Correct.
And I think that's part of the charm, but that's the same thing that would happen. My issue with Rami Malek is he is good in the movie. He is a great actor. I love the guy. I don't think he fit the part. It was my issue. And it could be just me. Like, he's not bad by any means.
There were moments where he looked disconnected.
Well, I think...
And then there were moments where he felt really engaged.
Well, he has a very stylized way of performing.
Yes.
And I don't think it fit that role as well.
I get it. No, I get it. Yeah, because
everything. This is the first time I've seen him do something that I didn't think he really fit. Like, I think, obviously Freddie Mercury, he was amazing.
Yes.
Mr. Robot, he was amazing.
Yes.
Some TV shows I saw him before he became.
But those are both.
He was always played like this awkward guy.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be an awesome villain in the new James Bond movie.
Yeah, I think he's going to do well.
But this one, again, he's not bad in this movie. He just, there was just something there that didn't work for me. And maybe it's his persona is so modern, it was hard to buy him as a detective
90s.
at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the star of this movie to me was Jared Leto.
Oh my gosh. The thing that I love most about that character, it's so random, but I love it.
What, his weird little nuances of talking?
His limp.
Oh yeah, that
limp.
He had a little pot belly.
He had a pot belly and he had a limp, and it wasn't like normal, it was like a foot limp thing. And it was perfect because I'm like, could it be him? Could it not be him? Like, typically a person with a limp wouldn't kill anybody, but maybe they would because they're.
Or is it kind of so sad he doesn't really have a limp?
Or exactly, that's what I was like. Maybe he doesn't really, and that's the thing.
I'm going to tell you now before you're like, oh, you spoiled it. There is no mention of this limp in this movie whatsoever.
Oh, that has nothing to do with anything.
No, but I'm just saying so people don't be
But I'm thinking in my head, well, then they're going to say, no, it's not him because the killer wouldn't have a limp. So I don't know.
Well, and
you don't know. That's the whole thing.
For me, it was more about
and his weird nuances.
His creepy dialogue and the way he did subtle things that don't matter.
Yes.
Meant everything. Like, there's a moment he's brought in when he's their first questioning. They bring him in with cuffs, like you bring anybody that's a suspect. And they bring him in, and when they uncuff him, the officer uncuffs him. He's like, "Thank you, sir."
Yes.
He's like very polite.
But then that makes you think he did it. That's very Charles Manson-y.
Yeah, it's weird because it's this twist and this of things he says, and then he does things that's like, okay, it's clearly him.
Yeah.
And he does something else, is like, okay, it can't possibly be him. Yeah. And he's such a weirdo that it's perfection.
It is.
And his perfection is in the subtlety of you almost
the
like
little things.
It is.
Does.
Well, his performance perfectly encaps the title of the movie.
Yeah, the little things.
Because the importance of the little things is Denzel like telling Rami Malek, it's those little things that people get caught.
That's how you get caught.
And that's an ongoing theme in the film.
Yes.
It's the little things in his performance that makes it work.
Yes. And man, he is creepy as all heck, man. I think he's a real life vampire. But
well, he's gonna play Morbius, the living vampire,
so but I like that he has the ability to really transform in all of his performances.
Yeah, he's not quite anorexic like he was in Dallas Buyers Club.
Weird pot belly.
Yeah, he's not quite as scary as that. But
and I think maybe that's what Rami Malek felt like. He needed to be the everyman as well, and he is a little stylized.
He is, and like I said, he's
just
a brilliant
facial
actor.
Expressions and the way he plays things. It is. So I'm thinking with Eddie Mercury.
It also you know what? It also might be not so much a performance. It might be his stature standing next to someone like Denzel. Denzel, and I'm not talking about performance or acting wise.
Did you want someone like older and gruffer?
No, because the character is supposed to be like a young
the
upstart
new kid
detective.
on the block. Yeah.
But I'm thinking somebody that's more of a
like a powerhouse performance.
Not so much powerhouse performance.
He's an award winner.
No, I know that. It's not about his
just
performance.
different.
I think I'm talking about physical statures. Denzel's a pretty big guy.
He is. And Rami
Malek's a little guy.
He was so tall. I felt like he was a little skinny.
And maybe that's part of the reasoning that they wanted it that way, because one guy's a larger-than-life detective who has a history. And
maybe it was
he's got
physical, like...
and Rami Malek's character is the newer one on the block, but he carries himself with a lot of confidence, and he has something to say and something to prove, and I don't know. Everybody was great in the movie, and
I'm glad we got to see the little girl from Medium.
Oh yeah, she just kind of shows. We're like, and I didn't recognize her at the beginning of the movie.
Still going to the girl.
It wasn't until she came back later, and then I'm like, hey,
that's that girl, and she looks exactly the same from the TV show, but
she's almost 30.
Yeah, I'm like, oh gosh, we're so old.
But I really did enjoy the film. I love these old kinds of movies, and I know the movie's not getting the greatest reviews. But I think it's because I'm going to say a lot of it might boil down to the ending. I know you weren't a fan of the ending.
I wasn't.
I liked the ending.
I get it. No, I get it. But
I like the ending because the ending...
It's one of those.
Felt like life.
Yeah.
And felt like it wasn't as black and white as we thought it was going to be.
It never is.
And...
Sabine, stop.
So it nothing unfolds the way you think it's going to unfold. Nothing's explained.
That is life.
Nothing's explained the way you think it's going to be explained, and we can move on.
Okay, guys, I'm going to move y'all. I'm going to separate y'all.
So, Sabine, come here. So anyway, I guess we should start wrapping it up.
All right, let's wrap it up.
We've had enough issues.
That's all. Okay. Lord have mercy.
Sabine, come here. Sabine, come here.
Okay, so y'all need to go check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Make sure you check out the contest page. So tell me all the stuff on the contests here.
Okay, so hopefully I can remember everything.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up.
So we have a variety of films on the contest page right now this month or whatever. You need to do that so I can do this.
Okay.
I'll pull it up over here.
Okay, great.
All right. So I don't have the physical copies to show you a lot of these because but we have a few. They're all new than what we had last time, I believe, except for maybe one or two. We still have copies of Jiang Zhao, which is the second chapter in the Feng Shin cinematic universe. It's an animated Asian film, the first Meg Zha. We have copies of that to give away. I apologize about the dogs are growling and biting each other now.
Gosh, sorry.
Hey, come here. Come here, sit here.
Come up here.
Come here.
Come sit down.
Then we also have copies of Random Acts of Violence, which is a new film directed by Jay Brochelle that I can't wait to check out. We'll be talking about it next week. We have copies of Fat Man with Mel Gibson, which is one of our favorite.
That is potentially the best
Christmas movie.
Christmas
anti-Santa Claus movie ever.
So good.
We also have copies of Arch Enemy, starring Joe Magdalena. that's coming out. It's a superhero film.
Who?
Joe Magala.
I got it. Thanks.
We have copies of Born a Champion, the movie we discussed, starring Sean Patrick Flannery, which is a jiu-jitsu movie. It was a very good movie. And lastly, we have a movie called The Swordsman, or just The Swordsman. I believe it's a blind swordsman situation. That we'll have copies of that to give away.
Okay.
So you want to go to our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
and enter contest, and we have a couple other contests
to
coming up.
be.
I have a contest coming up that I'm excited about. Everybody else may not be as excited, but I am.
Okay, well, there you go. Let me get here. Oh my gosh. Having problems with these dogs being crazy. All right, so we need to talk about movies coming out this week. This is a big week. There's a lot happening, but I don't know if I can even tell you what's happening because my computer doesn't want to do anything.
Well,
sorry.
We'll have to tell you what's coming up next time. So just be
When we
surprised.
talk about
But
it.
coming out Blu-ray this week. Arch Enemy is coming out this week. Host, which is a horror film that got a lot of acclaim, is coming out. Let Him
I had it
Go
open.
with Kevin Costner, Diane Lane is coming out to Blu-ray and DVD.
Yes.
Do the Right Thing is getting the 4K treatment. Shin Godzilla is getting the 4K treatment, and some other random things. These are the bigger ones.
Okay, there you go. Oh my gosh.
So anyway, since she can't get on and I don't have the stuff sitting in front of me, I couldn't tell you exactly what's all coming out this week. There's not any big theatrical ones coming out this week. I know that for a fact because I know I believe the next big theater release is going to be Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yeah,
which is next
I'm
week.
Excited for that one.
Which is the week after. I mean,
the one coming out this week is the one we already watched. There's one we already watched that's coming out. I can't remember. I looked at this all earlier, and now I don't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Thank you. Hold on, it's coming up. Don't worry, I have my list. Slowly.
I know we'll be talking about Wild Mountain Thyme next week.
Yes, finally. Been trying to watch that.
I know. There's something else, and I don't remember what it is.
Oh.
But anyway, and we apologize for all of our technical difficulties today.
It happens.
It is what it is. This is what
do?
happens when you use technology. Things don't ever go right, especially when you're live.
Exactly. All right.
So,
Well, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live on the YouTube today. Don't forget to find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Hollywood Matrimony. And, of course, visit our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com, and click the contest button because that's where all the free stuff is. Thanks for watching.
peace and love. Yeah, I don't remember what else. We'll just say that's all.
All right. Bye.
See you next time. See you next Sunday. Bye.